Hey guys, it's be online doing my live stream this evening about 7. Let me think. I may cut off a little short today on the way home. I'm going to stop and grab a bucket of wings because I'm starving, and you guys know I've been on this Atkins diet, which is working out fantastic. Just a lifestyle change. I'm just cutting out some sugars and carbs, and it's really not like a diet because I've never eaten this much food in all my life. I'm eating 4 or 5 times a day. It's actually really good, easy to stick to. So I'm gonna head home. I might make that side stop, grab some wings, and then I'll see you guys at 7 o'clock if you want to stop in this evening, and we'll do another show tonight. I'm trying to stay on that schedule, trying to be true to the time slot, so I don't, I'm plus or minus 10 minutes either way, but usually I'm trying to get there right on time, and we'll pick up, have some decent conversation tonight. Yeah, my day did not go as well as I hoped technology-wise. My whole system, my whole network, and I have this problem imaging my PCs. I put my image out there. I use Semantic Ghost, and it's always worked great for me. But lately, it's just over the last 3-4 days, it's been a bear to get up and going again since the server crash, and now it's imaging my systems really slow. So my whole day was spent troubleshooting my server and the virtual server that I have running for my imaging. So not a good day from that standpoint. Otherwise, not too bad. I'm just looking forward to getting home. I'm going to probably hit a movie. I was going to hit a movie like maybe 9 o'clock, 9:30, maybe 10 o'clock. I don't know. I was going to go to a late night show tonight, and I hit a couple more on Saturday after my poker tournament. There's a No Limit Hold'em tournament Saturday, so I'm going to go play in that, and just kind of kick back and enjoy the weekend. My weekends usually fly by way too quick. By the time I wake up, it's Monday already. They go by real quick. So this weekend, I'm going to try and make the most out of them and get some things done and just have a good time, as opposed to sit at home and do nothing. That seems to be what makes them go the fastest when they have nothing to do. So I haven't heard too much about. I didn't get a chance to get on the news during lunch. As I said, I spent all day on this technology stuff. Very frustrating at times, but that's about it. If you get a chance, I'll do my shameless promotion of emails. If you got questions, comments, suggestions, whatever, POVAmerica@outlook.com. You can go ahead and email me there. I'm working on a new show title, new show theme song, so I'm, just kind of trying to put everything together. Find my legs and find out what I like. And I appreciate every bit of feedback I've gotten. I've gotten a lot of emails from you, and I've got people that have really kind of given me some great suggestions I've been implementing, and especially if you've been into this for a long time. A lot of you guys have been really avid. You're on Twitch, you're watching the people on Twitch, you're on YouTube, you're watching all the streamers there, or you're on Periscope or Stream Me, or all the other platforms that are out there. So you kind of know what you've seen, kind of mechanical knowledge. You got to rely on the mechanics to help you get that car built, and you guys are so great watching everybody else. I really appreciate the feedback. I'm not quite the I notice these guys that are on there now are way more into the gaming than I am, and even though I'm into poker and I love the retro games, but I don't think there's a big call for retro games on there. So but yeah, give me some suggestions what you guys like in the show, and I'll try to implement a lot of that, and we'll have some fun with it. I really truly want to build something that we all enjoy just for a few hours in the evening time, just like group of friends that get together and chat. So I did get a follower, a subscriber on YouTube. I think it was Doug something. I don't have the. I caught it just before I went into work. I got the message that I had a subscriber. Thank you, I appreciate you, and I'll give you a shout out tonight once I get a look to see who's subscribed and who's followed. But I really do, guys. I can't even tell you. I'm kind of apprehensive. When I first got into this, I'll be honest, I was really apprehensive because I'm going, the whole streaming thing is it something I'm going to enjoy? I didn't know if I wanted to devote the time to it. But once I got into it, once I've started putting it all together, it is actually really awesome. And I'm kind of glad that I really took the leap and said, I'll take a leap of faith. I'll check out this live streaming, see if I like it. And I really do. And I hope that you guys, help me grow what I'm doing, because your information and your feedback is really what keeps me going. It's just invaluable. I get home, I get the emails. I got an email. And it's funny, don't think that we got to talk about politics or we have to talk about religion. It's whatever you guys want to. I got one email last night after asked me, it says, because I have, for those of you that haven't watched before or don't know the deal, I've been married 30 years. I literally have been married to the same woman for more than 50% of my life. I was barely old enough to drink a beer when we got married. So it's like 30 years, we've been married, and people say, how can you stay married for 30 years? What's the secret? The one email I got says, what's your secret? And I was kind of thinking about it going, well, what is the secret? I mean, I don't really have a secret. I mean, my wife and I only knew each other for a few months before we got married. We didn't date for 5 years or 7 years, or we weren't high school sweethearts, and so we didn't have a lot of dating time there. It was just kind of, people always say, oh, was it love at first sight? No, it really wasn't. It was kind of lust at first sight. And then I was the stalker in the relationship. I mean, I went to, I was on post on where I was stationed, and she was working as a civilian on post, and I kind of met her there, and then I kind of happened to find out that she worked as a real estate agent too, so I went to the real estate office and kind of stalked her there, said I was interested in buying a house or looking at some property, and then took her out to lunch, just typical stalker stuff, that you do. And, we ended up getting along, and I guess sometimes you just kind of know. And I was really open to it at the time. I was like, I knew in my life I was only going to get married one time. And it was either going to work or it wasn't, because if I got married and I ended up getting a divorce, I was never going to marry again, because I didn't really see the value of a piece of paper. I just didn't see the value of marriage, because all it does is really hurt you. It hurts you tax-wise. It hurts you in every stress. People in the government love to preach and say, oh, a family unit, keep the family unit together. But the truth of the matter is, being married, what really matters, and what that piece of paper, why people want it, it's basically saying, with this piece of paper, I promise not to sleep with anyone else, and you promise not to sleep with anyone else, and we're married. And that's kind of really the only, in my view, that's the only pertinent information that's contained on that little dotted line at the bottom, that says, not sleep with friends or neighbors. It wasn't that important to me to have a piece of paper. If you love someone, if you want to be with someone, you're going to love that person, and you're going to be with that person. If you're not, you're not. I mean, you look at couples like Goldie Hawn. Goldie Hawn and Kurt Russell, I think they've been together since they were embryos. I mean, they have been together forever. They're not married. They don't have a piece of paper that, says they're married. So it's not something that I believe. It's not the piece of paper I believe in. It was my wife that I believed in, and she wanted it. It made her comfortable. I was okay with it, because if it didn't work out, we had to get a divorce, it wasn't going to be an issue. I just wasn't getting married again. But, as far as what the secret to staying together for 30 years, I mean, I will be honest, the biggest, in marriage in general, I guess in relationships, serious relationships, just realize early on when you start your marriage, you start your relationship, the first thing you need to know, unless you're wealthy, unless you're a millionaire and you're not worried about money, the first thing you have to be aware of is that 90% of your arguments are going to be around finances and money, and most often things that you cannot control and you don't have any control over. So there's no sense in fighting about those things. Just simply, what happens, what's going to work out, it's going to work out. Don't fight. It's stupid to fight about the things you cannot change. Now, if there's something you can change, then you change it. But for us, what really worked in our relationship is for 30 years, we communicate. We communicate on every level. There is absolutely nothing that goes unsaid between my wife and I ever. Ever, ever. And I mean that with a capital E. Ever. If I do something and she thinks I'm an asshole, you know what she calls me? An asshole. She goes, you were such an asshole, blah, blah. And she will unleash on me and open up and tell me what she thinks. And you know what? I do the same, and I wouldn't spend a day on this earth without her. And I mean, she's that much. It's not that you vent. Everybody vents. Everybody gets angry. And the thing is, fights, when people get in these big arguments and fights, it's stupid. I mean, if I do something stupid, I know I did something stupid, and I expect her to be on top of me and really kind of put me in check. And the reverse is true. I always keep her in line. But we are not just husband and wife. We are best friends. We never, ever, ever, ever take it seriously. We decided long ago, we knew, because it's just human nature, that there's going to be conflict in relationships. There's going to be disagreements. We knew years and decades ago, you just don't take it personal. You understand that that person is going through something emotional right there. And then literally, and I'm not exaggerating, 15 minutes later, we're going out to eat, we're going to dinner, we're kissing. It doesn't matter. It's just, in that moment, you put it behind you just as quick, and you don't harbor any of that. So it's really weird, because and as your relationship grows, and as you're together longer, those fights become less and less and less. But you never, ever should stop communicating. If you're going to call your husband an asshole, if you're going to call your wife a bitch, don't sit there and say, oh, I don't want to do that, that's so wrong. Just do it. Don't harbor that, because it doesn't. All it is a way to vent anger. I mean, I don't hesitate to call somebody an idiot if they're an idiot, unless, of course, they're my boss or something, and even then, I'm tempted. But my wife and I have just never hesitated to tell each other what we didn't like, what we liked, and we don't use the foul language very often. I mean, it's just, but when we're pissed, she will say, you have pissed me off, and she'll tell me why. And she'll say, why do you do, we communicate. And I think that in any relationship, the number one key to being married 30 years is communicate. If you don't communicate and you just sit there and you harbor this and it's not going to work, guys. It's just not. You've got to know what ticks her off. She has to know what ticks, you off. I mean, you have to have that. And you have to have every bit of trust. Trust is, I am a huge flirt. I flirt all the time. My wife has caught me flirting. I mean, I am just, not that it would ever go anywhere. It's just, you know what it is? It's the fun of doing it. It's just, what you say, what you do, the reactions. It's just entertaining. But it would never go anywhere. I mean, even if I had every chance in the world for it to go somewhere, I wouldn't let it go anywhere, because I'm happy with who I have. And then you say, well, then why are you flirting? Because I'm a guy and we're pigs. I mean, what else do you want me to tell you? I mean, we just like to have fun. It's that everybody likes to be wanted, or likes to be, you know, you want to feel that you're attractive, or at least you're wanted by someone. You know, I don't know. There's a whole bunch of different reasons, but the thing is, she knows that, and she also knows that I would never, ever do anything, period, seriously do anything that would jeopardize what we have, because it's just not worth it. We've been married too long. You know, so to me, I would, you know, even if she flirted, I wouldn't get mad. It's, especially at our ages, we know we've been together our whole lives. We're going to be together the rest of our lives. So it's to me, it's all harmless flirtation, whether I'm doing it or whether she's doing it. It's not a big deal to me. But the communication is, you know, like if I did something that really pissed her off and she didn't like it, she says, don't flirt with that girl, or I don't like that, because she's done that. She actually has done that once before with a girl that I worked with previously that was very, I won't say clingy, but she was always hanging around me. I would make her laugh, and she would always hang out. And my wife did vocalize her objection to that we were becoming, she thought, a little too friendly. And I was like, you know, my first communication was, you know, honey, she's old enough to be my daughter. Nothing's going to happen there. But she was obviously uncomfortable enough to mention it. So I kind of put a stem on that and stopped all that, because I just didn't want it to go any further to where she would really get upset at me, because there's no need for that. So I mean, I wish I had a secret. I just can tell you that for us, it's always been, don't fight about money and stupid things. Don't argue or fight about the things that you cannot change. You know, and I don't try to change her. She doesn't try to change me. We communicate all the time. And we spend time together. You know, we'll go to movies when I can drag her to a movie. She's not a huge movie buff. Like these movies I'm going to go to, I'll go to one probably tonight, maybe a few tomorrow. I'll probably be going alone, because she just doesn't like to go to movies that often. And then, you know, but we go out to eat all the time, you know, and so we still have our time together. And I think, I mean, I wish I had a secret ingredient that I could say to you, this is how it works, but really it's you have to communicate. You don't fight about the stupid things that you can't change. Those are the two biggest things that I can think of. Sex is huge. I mean, every relationship, I don't care whether you're a teenager in a relationship or whether you're 70, 80 years old. I mean, I don't know any relationship that will succeed without sex. It's a natural urge and instinct that everybody wants, and men usually want it more than women, because we're pigs, like I said. You know, we're I think it's like every 8 to 10 or 8 to 12 seconds. That's kind of what a lot of us think about. You know, you see somebody walk by, especially if you live out at the beach, just thoughts go through your mind. It's just, so that's very important. You have to have that attraction, but at the same time, it's not everything in a relationship. It's a big part, but it's not everything. So it's the whole ball of wax. You got to find somebody you're comfortable with, you know, you're willing to spend time with. For us, it was just, I kind of knew the first, you know, I said we only dated a few months, and I kind of knew at that time, this is a person that I was comfortable with. I was willing to take a chance to get to grow and to get to know. Because there's sometimes, you know, people say, do you believe in love at first sight? No, absolutely not. I don't believe in anything, because you don't know the person. And I didn't know her truly, even after dating for the months that we dated. I didn't really know her. I really didn't know all about her past or everything she'd done. I knew a little bit, and I knew some of the stuff, but even today, and I'm going to say this in all honesty, even today, 30 years later, there's probably so much in her life that she's never told me about or never shared with me, for one reason or the other. You know what? And that's that's okay, because I'm the same way. There is probably 20 years of things that I've never shared with her, that I've never told her. And it's not that I'm not open to sharing. It's just that it kind of doesn't seem important. It just, the things are, you know, everybody has things that happen in their life. You don't just spew and share everything all at once, or all, you know, even over time with people, because some of the things you just put behind you and they just don't matter anymore. So why bring them up? Why rehash the past? So, and I think that's probably what she feels, and what a lot of people feel is, why am I going to live in the past? Why am I going to rehash this? Whether it's old relationships or whatever. You know, I don't do it. I don't think she does it. Where, you know, we bring up too much of the past. But I will tell you, to this day, what she is absolutely unbelievable at. You want to talk about somebody who has a skill or a special talent? I mean, everybody does. Some people, you know, just have talent built in from the day they're born. And my wife has that. And her talent is, she will never, ever let me forget a mistake. When I make a mistake or I do something, I can look for that to be relived 10 years, 15 years, 20 years later. She will bring up something from 20 years ago if we're having an argument or any kind of a thing that leads to conflict. She'll say, well, you know, if it, you know, back here, and then she'll bring up 20 years ago or 10 years ago. And at first I used to be really annoyed by it. I mean, I was like, why are you living in the past? Why you bring this stuff up? You know, let it go. And then actually it started kind of becoming humorous. I don't know why. It was like inside. It was actually, I would actually start doing things to see if I could get her to bring stuff up from the past. I mean, it's like, I can't believe she would do it, and I would get angry at it. But then after a while, I started kind of finding it humorous. If I said something, I'm like, oh boy, I just opened the door, here it comes, and then she would bring something up from 10 years ago, 5 years ago. She never forgets. Now, I could care less. I mean, if something happens 10, 15, 20 years ago, it's over, it's done with. I don't bring it back up. But there are a couple, I will be honest, there are a couple things that she's really sensitive about that were in the past. And when, you know, when I have to pull out my arsenal, my weapons, I will then go ahead and say, well, you know, if you would have done this, you know, 15 years ago or 20 years, or if you didn't do this, then I'll pull out my side. Then, you know, then it's kind of like, oh, yeah, well, you know, this is what happened with your brother, and you know, she'll pull this out, and, you know, it's kind of funny, but I don't take too much in our relationship serious when it comes to arguing or fighting, because after all the years we've been married, there's really nothing worth fighting or arguing over. We usually see eye to eye on most things. I mean, you know, if she'll come out and say something, and, you know, we'll spend some time, and I might be out in the front room, and she'll come out and she'll say, hey, and share something, and I understand it. I'm in agreement, or I've seen it, or I've read it. So we kind of become one in almost every stretch of the word. She'll read the news, and and she'll come and talk to me about stuff, and I'll have read the same thing, and we'll share our thoughts on things. It's just, you almost become like one person, because you're so in tune with each other that it's beyond comfortable. That's kind of when you know you love someone, and because after a week or a month or even a year, you can never fully know a person. You know, it takes a lifetime. It takes a long time, because love is something you grow into. You can lust for people, then yes, I believe in lust at first sight. Absolutely. You know, you see somebody and you're like, oh my God, I want to be with that person forever, and you're lusting over them, and you think they're great and everything, but you never really know the person. You don't know that person. Even after a month or 6 months or a year, you think you know that person, but the truth is, you don't. It takes time. 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. It's a gradual thing. Love comes with knowledge. You learn the person, their little idiosyncrasies, Oh my God, I hate it. He doesn't put the cap on the toothpaste. Okay, well, when you change the toilet paper, you don't put the toilet paper on the top. You let it dangle on the bottom, and that's not right. The toilet paper should go over the top. And, you know, all these little things that you notice about each other, and you start to make your little list, it kind of defines the relationship, you know. You don't just break up and get a divorce because, you know, she doesn't turn the socks right side out when she puts them in the washer. You don't do that. You just kind of grow and learn about people. She could tell you, if somebody came to her and asked her anything about me, she could tell you in an instant. If you asked me anything about her, I could tell you. You know, staying together for 30 years, it wasn't hard. As a matter of fact, we talk about it all the time. We say, does it really seem like we've been married 30 years? And we both sit there and go, no, it doesn't. It seems like just a blink of the eye. It's always, I will say another thing too that goes in our favor is it's never been dull. Never a dull moment. There's always something going on in our life to keep our life moving, something different happening. You know, she knows I'm juvenile, childish, immature. She also knows that I'm prone to just, I'm very spontaneous. On just a moment's notice, I might decide to go do something, and she's either going with me or she's not. You know, I'm forcing her to make decisions. We have moved in our lifetime probably 20 times over 30 years. And I mean, and it's always been moving up. You know, we started out with a little 800 square foot house, and then we moved to a little, 900 square foot, then 1,000, then 1,200, then, eventually to 5,000 square feet, or then 7,000 square feet with a 5-car garage. And, it's always moving up, but it was never dull. Every single year or two we were doing something new was happening, new, exciting. So I think that's really another thing that's, besides the communication, besides the not fighting over money or bills or the things you can't change, besides the sex, you want to keep it interesting. You want to have a lot in your life that is fresh and keeps, and try to make it as many positive, good things. You don't want to be losing job after job after job to where you lose your job, you lose your property. That's not fun. I mean, you don't want to do that, but you want to try and keep it positive. Go to school. I got her. She's been to class. She was in the dental field for years and turned these offices around from making, $20,000 a month to making over $100,000 a month. She was very good managing these dental offices. Huge. They actually pulled her over to one of the larger practices. She loved what she was doing. She could do it well, better than anybody. And she even went, matter of fact, at one point, she went to get her CDA, or she wanted to be a certified dental assistant. And she went through all the classes, got, what is it called, summa cum laude, or whatever, no, Phi Theta Kappa. She was Phi Theta Kappa, the National Dean's List, and all this. And then after she went through the whole thing, she was like, got straight A's, and then says, well, I'm not going to become a dental CDA, certified dental assistant. She goes, I don't want to do that. And I said, wait a minute, you've already went through everything. Why not? Come to find out, they don't make as much money as she was making. And she says, she's so happy doing what she's doing, she just took the class to get the knowledge that the CDAs had so she could better manage her offices and her people. I said, so you went through all that schooling just so you could understand what the other people are doing in your... I give her a lot of credit, man. I mean, she was very persistent, but she's always been that way. When I first met her, she not so much. I mean, it took years to get her... She was married once before I was. And she had an abusive husband. This guy was a dick. He was a total ass. And I mean, so... between, what he did, because she also had kids before we had our own kids. She had kids that he was just terrible father to them, put all the blame on her, And just, you know, and that's the thing, when parents get a divorce, you should never, ever fight in front of the kids or disparage one another to the children. Never do that. But he did everything and he was a deadbeat dad. And so when I married her, I kind of took her away from all that. We got out from even having to deal with him. And but the thing was, the whole time, probably the first 3 or 4 years that we were married, she was so introverted, her shell, she wouldn't come out, she was very soft-spoken. You know, her husband had put her down all the time, her ex-husband put her down, wouldn't let her go to school, wouldn't let her do all the things. And when we got married, and I encouraged all of that, it kind of threw her off. She was like years to where today she's a very independent, very smart, very intelligent, very headstrong woman, and she is everything that I knew to be what she is on her worst days. I mean, she is everything that I would say that I could never be. She's just, I mean, it's not even if me and her side by side, she has me way outclassed. She's just so much better than I deserve. And for some reason, she's stuck around for all these years. It's actually kind of confusing to me, because every now and then I go, what did I do to deserve her? You know, how the hell does she put up with me? That's kind of where I'm at. I'm like, if I was her, I would have left me years ago. You know, she can always find someone better. I just don't know what it is that keeps her around me, because, you know, despite, you know, my flaws, there must be one thing that she likes that keeps her around. But yeah, there's no secret to marriage. It's just love the person you're with, and I mean, and do it 100% and without any reservations. You know, don't argue, you know, argue less, talk more, talk all the time. She would come home from work, working for the dental offices. She would come home from work, and I would sit for at least 2 hours, if not more, whatever she needed, and I would do nothing but listen to her day, because dealing with these doctors and these dentists and everything were absolutely, it was a nightmare for her, because the doctors or these dentists she worked for were just absolute idiots. You know, they were holier than thou, and they just had no backbone, no spine, and it was all a terrible working environment, and she had to deal with it every day. They would come up to her and say, write me a check for $30,000, I'm going to go buy this Mercedes, you know, and she would say, well, you can't do that. You can't use your corporate funds for personal use. You can't commingle. That's called piercing the corporate veil, and you know, it'll cause problems down the line. And she would have to educate these guys, and they wouldn't care and want it done anyway. You know, it's my practice, I'll do whatever I want. So she had so many headaches. And, you know, it was like every day she would come home, 2 hours or more, I would sit and listen. And I would just give her some thoughts, give her some feedback. And I was, you know, actively focused and engaged for however long it took on what was important to her during that day. Now, 30 years, how many times in 30 years do you think she's ever come to me and asked me about my day and how my day was? Zero. Not a single, I'm not exaggerating, not a single time has she come to me and say, so what's going on at work today? Well, how was your day? What happened? Anything good? Nothing like that. And I don't think that it's an issue, because I have never wanted to relive my days at home. After I went through whatever I go through at work, I don't want to go home and talk about work. I don't like doing that. Now, some people, in her case, she needed to. She needed to vent. She needed to get that out, because otherwise she'd probably explode. But in my case, it was never important to me that she asked me about my day. I didn't care, because my day was just that. It was usually just a tough, same day, same old shit, different day, and I didn't really care about it. But I will say, for whatever reason, you know, we're still here, and it's been 30 years, and going, probably go another 30 if I live that long, who knows. But, guys, I'm coming up to the store where I usually get my wings and everything. So what I'm going to do is I'll probably cut this a little short. I'm going to go in and get my wings and everything for dinner. I'll see you at 7 o'clock if you want to shoot it on Twitch or YouTube. Jump in and have some conversations. You know, I mean, are you married? You got a girlfriend, a boyfriend? You know, what are you guys going through? I'm curious, am I the only one that's, you know, lucky enough to have somebody that puts up with me? Because I know I'm not an easy person to live with. I'm not an easy person to put up with. And God knows if you can overlook all of my shortcomings and still stay here, maybe the powers that be have said, you know, you guys are stuck together. You're not getting out of this. And maybe that's just how it is, and that's good for me. But no, I definitely. My wife's, you know, it's funny because she does a channel too. She has a channel on YouTube. Are you ready for this? My wife has a channel on YouTube. Well, it's kind of like a family channel we started, but she's primarily the one that's doing it. It was called Sand Scratchers, S-A-N-D Scratchers, like sand scratchers. But what she does is she takes lottery tickets and she scratches these lottery tickets. She's got almost 200 subscribers, and she's got a lot of people that follow her and that she follows. There's like this huge community of people all over different states, and their channels are surrounded. They're all about scratching these lottery tickets, and you'll see them win $10,000 scratcher, $5,500. It's really cool to kind of watch, and I'm kind of her sugar daddy, I guess, for that. I buy a lot of the tickets that she, you know, I'll come home with a bunch of tickets for her to use on her show. But yeah, check her out if you get a chance. Tell her I sent you, and she'll get a kick out of that. But I'm pulling up to the store. I'm going to Winn-Dixie to get my wings. So I appreciate you guys hanging out with me on the drive. If you were hanging out with me the whole way, that's great. If not, I understand. You know, time to go every now and then. But I do hope you stop by tonight at about 7 o'clock or so, and we'll do a live stream and contribute. Let me know about what you're going through. How crazy is your life compared to mine? Mine's crazy, but I know there's other people's whose lives crazier. I mean, I can't tell you how many jobs I've had that I've enjoyed, how many jobs I've had that I hate, and how, you know, to me the best thing has always been working for myself. And I might go back to doing that. But this is kind of, I hate to say it this way, but working for other people is kind of like a vacation for me, because working for myself and being responsible for a ton of employees, oh, it was a pain in my butt. Anyway, guys, I'm here at the grocery store. I'm going to grab my my wings, and I will see you guys at around 7 o'clock or so if you stop by. Thanks for hanging out with me on the ride home, and I'll see you again this evening, and then again